Okay, guys, welcome to part 2 of my drawing of Paradox Scolipede. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll include a video in the description. But basically, part 1 was just me drawing an outline or just a rough sketch with a pencil, and then outlining it with pen, and then shading some of those little details. And then before this video, I also did a little bit of detailing with the background, adding some shading here and there. So this is what I currently have. And the next step of this process, of this video, is just coloring it and adding in more depth and texture to it based on like different color tones. And then at the end, if I still have time, I'm probably going to use this Micron pen. I typically do this towards the end. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like maybe this, who knows, we'll see. I think this picture is already looks pretty good in a way, so I don't know if adding like more details and more outlining from this pen is going to make that much of a difference, but we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much how this video is going to go. I really do appreciate you guys for stopping by to my channel, and if you like this video and what you see, please don't forget to like it, and then also to subscribe to see more of this type of art. So yeah, let's get started on drawing, and I mean not drawing, but coloring Paradox Scolipede. Okay, so first step is I'm going to probably I'm gonna start with the horns. I'm thinking the horns are gonna be like your typical color of horns. I think they're usually like a grayish, yellowish type of color. Because it's like, aren't horns sort of like the same protein matter or protein type as like your fingernails? And your fingernails are kind of like light yellow, like a lightish yellow. I don't know. We'll see. Let's just go. I'm just gonna do it. So basically how I do my coloring is I just start with a lighter color at the beginning, and I also press lightly on the color pencil just so that I can create like a little bit of a base, and then I continue to color in darker tones. Pressing a little bit harder on the pencil to create that shadowy effect. I think I'm also gonna make its eyes like yellow too. I think most Paradox Pokemon have like yellowish eyes, like reptilian almost. So I'm gonna color its claws the same. Same type of color as its horn, because it's pretty much the same protein material, I guess. What do you call that? Like, what is the name of the protein that makes up your fingernails? Does anybody know? It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't. What is it? Who knows? But it's like the same material. Okay. So now I'm gonna use the brown. I'm gonna use the brown to make it a little bit darker in some areas. And see how it creates this nice shading sort of textural effect when you use a slightly, I guess, darker color and then pressing it a little bit harder on the pencil, it just creates this really nice shadowy textural effect. I feel like if you can control the pressure, if you practice and learn how to control the pressure of the color pencil or whatever medium that you use, it creates a really nice effect to your drawings. You just have to practice, you know? See, I press a little bit harder here, but then I eventually kind of gradually release that pressure to create that nice gradient effect. The color on its underbelly and like sort of like the under part of its body is, I think, like a dark gray, so I'm gonna kind of stick with that. But I'm gonna first start out with like a light brown and then gonna color in with like the black to create that like dark brownish gray look. I want to emphasize these dark eye circles to really give it that like devious look. It's like, I don't care about sleep, I stay up all night hunting. And this is also a benefit of shading in with your pen before you color, because it kind of guides you on where you need to press a little bit harder on the color pencil to create that gradient effect. Makes your job a little bit easier so that your video doesn't take twice as long. Yeah, I gotta figure out a way to make my videos shorter because I care about you guys, you know? I don't want you guys to sit through this whole thing for like 2, 3 hours because it does take a while to create this type of art, at least for me. So I have to shorten it somehow. I really like starting with a pencil sketch, like a rough sketch, because it just gives me that form, you know, that basis. Because if I don't do that and I just go blind, like sometimes you just end up with a form or like a shape that you don't really like and you can't really erase it, you know what I mean? Especially if you're using a pen, so that's why when Now, for its main body color, like here and here and here, I'm thinking Scolipede is like a dark magenta color. So that's where I'm gonna kind of go with this because I really want it to still have certain qualities of a Scolipede. Otherwise, if I make this like green or something, it's just gonna look so different, you know, like root bonnet, um, screamtail, flutter mane, they all have the same color scheme as like the original forms, so I kind of want to stick with that. I think I'm going to go with the magenta first. So just like my shading with the pen, I usually go a little bit darker within like the crevices of the scale, so like what you're gonna see here. And then I go a little bit lighter when it's towards the front of the scale, I guess is how you would say it, so that it just creates this 3D effect. I think I need to darken this area a little bit more. I think I'm gonna make its hair brown. Brown, maybe? Maybe brownish white? It's like brown at the tips and that just goes into like a grayish white type of color. So I'm just adding a little bit of brown, like light brown to this to give it that little bit of interest. Now I'm gonna go in with a darker, more vibrant red. Man, I gotta stop pressing too hard on these pencils because the point keeps breaking off. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of orange to brighten it up a little bit. I'm gonna try not to put too much detail and effort into the rocks because it's not really like the focal point of this drawing, but I know myself too well. I know that I'm probably gonna go into these rocks and do as many details as I can because I'm just that way. See, this is why I shade with my pen before I color it, just so that it makes this part a little bit easier. I'm not really shading everything, I'm just kind of like reinforcing it with the color pencils. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of light brown. Because not all rocks are the same. just like in real life. Every pebble has a different type of pattern. So I kind of want to emulate that. Sort of. Just adding a little bit of a gradient to the sky so that it doesn't look like it's standing against a white background. I'm running out of yellow. I'm debating on whether I want to outline some of the shapes a little bit more using my micron pen. And what I like to do with the sky is I like to blend certain colors together that kind of makes sense. So the bottom here we got a little bit of the red, and then it goes up to the yellow, but I just do it really lightly, and then the yellow kind of goes and mixes in with the blue. Alright, so this is Paradox Scolipede. I think it turned out pretty well. I like how it looks. Looks very vicious, very dinosaur-like, but still hopefully looking like a Scolipede. Don't forget to click on that like button, and it really does help me. And also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more art. I do have some ideas coming your way. So yeah, I hope you guys like it, and I'll see you guys around. Bye.